Thank you, Jeff. So let me just first also introduce myself a little bit more, and I want to also thank Maryland Department of Transportation for organizing this webinar, and it's a great pleasure. So when Jeff and Michelle reach out, and we're from University of Maryland, so I'm personally a professor at University of Maryland. So it's our duty and also our responsibility to provide technical assistance and also support to the local government in the state of Maryland. We have already worked closely with several county cities in the state of Maryland, help them to really apply for grants and even furthermore deliver their infrastructure project in the future there. So the Build America Center, it's a USDOT funded center, and we primarily focus on the innovative financing and the project delivery. When we start our center last January, and it's our opportunity, I would say, that USDOT, especially Federal Highway Administration, really task us to really provide the technical assistance to local public agency, help them to really identify the funding opportunity, develop their grant application. And so we're not only one university. We partner with other 4 universities across the country, and they have the regional coverage. But we do have the professors and researchers from Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech, Purdue, and Stanford, and they focus on very specific areas and expertise they can bring, so that we can provide comprehensive technical assistance across all local public agencies across the country there. We also have a close collaboration and partnership with many other national associations, especially I want to mention that National Governor Association and National League of City and also County Association there. So we work with them and basically, work closely with them, organize some conferences and share data. We also feed the data to NLC for certain, their tasks there. We also have a partnership with ADBA and the Global Infrastructure Investor Association, so that we can, bring different expertise from the whole infrastructure field, so that we can actually, provide more service to local public. Hello, yeah. So something like the technical issues here. So over the past 20 year, especially by the by the end of December 2022, and we actually support more than 15 local public agencies, help them to navigate the funding opportunity, and help the local public agency apply for federal grants. Especially we help more than 6 grant application there, and I'm really proud to say that all 6 applications got funded last year, and over the past 5 months this year, we actually support more than 5 or 6 already. And last year, that based on our observation and our experience in supporting local public agency for grant application. So we see, some of the, I would say, lesson learned and also the best practice that I want to share with the group today. And just want to really make some marketing here is that the Build America Center is a technical assistance program designated by the USDOT. So we probably the only one right now, and outside of the federal government, that will provide a federal technical assistance. And we, funded by the USDOT, so we provide this technical assistance typically for free. But some of the local public agency did want us to continue the technical assistance, the technical service. So they actually budget some of the fundings for Build America Center, so that we can also continue to support them during the project delivery process. And you can see that most of the local public agency would like to continue work with us over the past years that we when we provide the service there. So what kind of service we provide? We actually help the local public agency coordinate the funding, develop their application strategy, conduct the data analysis, and even for those local public agency, especially under resources, the local public agency, we actually help them to develop the full application package. So our resources are very limited too, so we are not able to provide such kind of deep dive technical assistance for all agencies there. We're trying to really leverage and provide probably I would say build a capacity for local public agency, and that's the reason that we have so many other partnerships and also close the collaboration with other university, and we also trying to build broader partnership with other public universities so that they can also leverage their resources and provide a technical assistance to local government there. One of the products that we developed over the past year is this Bill Launchpad, and you all know the DOT Navigator, and you probably use that DOT Navigator quite often there. So this Bill Launchpad is a little bit different. It's not really replacing, it's basically complement the existing DOT Navigator. And this Bill Launchpad, you can just visit billlaunchpad.com, and you can see that the Bill Launchpad provides a funding opportunity there, and also we collected all the notice of funding opportunity over the past 3 or even 5 years. So you can see that the application window for a specific program over the past 3 years, if that's already there, or even, then you can plan ahead, and even you don't know when the new funding opportunity or notice of funding opportunity will be released, but you can still learn from the past information so that you can plan ahead. We collect a successful application package. I would say that right now we probably have more than 200 full application package, and this is only as I know right now the data source that you can actually learn from the successful application package there. And if you're targeting Safety Street for All, we collect some implementation application package. We also have a couple planning application documents that you can learn, and you can follow how they develop their project narrative, how they develop their budget, and even we collect letter of support for those specific application, and you can see that how they actually identify the partners and also the letter of support that they should really solicit. And many other documents that we collect if the local public agency publish that online. So the database, the Bill Launchpad, actually covers Safety Street for All program, RAISE program, Reconnecting Community program, Thriving Community program, Infra, Mega, and rural programs already. So we'll continue to collect more successful application package. So in the future, if you want to see some successful example for a specific program, and I would recommend that visit our website first and see whether you can see some successful application there. And you can also collect the technical assistant directly through this billlaunchpad.com, and just reserve a conference call so that we can have some conversation and see how the Build America Center can support your agency there. So over the past 5 months, so we help a small city in Oregon to develop their RAISE program. We help Anne Arundel County to develop their bus facility grant application. We help the University of Maryland to apply this the no emission vehicle grant application. And we also help the Montgomery County to develop the Regional Infrastructure Accelerator application. State of Louisiana Governor's Office helped them to develop the Regional Infrastructure Accelerator application there. And just the last, today is Wednesday, so we actually, yesterday was the deadline for the charging fueling infrastructure. So we work closely with Montgomery County and also Maryland Clean Energy Center, support them to applying for the grants under the CFI programs there. So we're also helping a few local agencies across the country to develop their safety street for all. And one of the safety street for all application that we're helping right now is MPO in Kansas, and help them to really bundle the application from different counties in the region, so that they can include more activities and also a larger budget for that application there. So a lot of programs that we're supporting, and I probably would say that most of the discretionary program, so we have been working with local public agency and help them to apply for those grants there. So back to the tips. So that's just some background, and trying to really answer some of the question that people would answer, question that who is this guy and why he's able to really talk about some best practice or tips here. So we work closely with the local government. Even I'm a professor, I'm a researcher at the University of Maryland, but we work closely with the local government. So, and these tips, when MDOT gave me this topic and asked me to really draft some tips for local public agencies. So I thought about this, and this is just the 10 tips that based on our experience, and you can see that the Bill Launchpad actually can help you very much on some of the application process there. So the first one I want to really mention here is that it's match your local needs. That's very critical to really consider what are the local needs, infrastructure needs, and then identify the funding opportunity that you would like to target. So we help a few. So I remember Washington County, we talked to Washington County in Maryland last April probably, and they're very clear. So they have a very clear needs on EVs and also the stormwater management system there. So those are needs that you see, and then you can target the funding opportunity that you can focus on. And remember one thing here is that when you're applying for those grants, and you can't just say that you're applying for that. You have to demonstrate the needs. You have to demonstrate some of the preparation so that your project can be ready to be implemented. So the federal government evaluates your application, especially the readiness, very seriously, and they have a long list of the criteria that they will consider. Environmental study, the process of the environmental studies there, and also right of way, the organization setup, the contracting procedures that you have. So all those would be very critical when you are applying for federal grants, and start with your local needs. And we have been working with a few other local public agency or state. They start actually to build some infrastructure needs map. So in this way, you have a long-term plan so that you can target. Because remember here is that IIJA is 5 years. This is the second year. You still have a few years to go. And I personally feel that many of those successful programs under the IIJA might continue also in the future. So you don't really see this is a 1 year's program that you don't have a chance anymore. So plan ahead and start with your local needs would be critical. And the Bill Launchpad can help you identify the funding opportunity. Of course, the DOT Navigator can also do that. One of the critical, I think, features within the Bill Launchpad would be this search function. We use some kind of, we call it AI-based search support. So the keywords will be searched not only through the title of the funding program. That's pretty much right now the DOT Navigator focus on. They have the DOT also the funding dashboard, which help you to identify the funding opportunity for a very specific program there. But search function, for example, here in the Bill Launchpad, you can search. The search actually would be conducted through not only the funding opportunity title, but also the summary, and we can also expand to cover the entire funding opportunity documents, so that in this way you might need to really you might able to find, let's say, workforce development application that you can incorporate into many of those programs there. So that's one that I would say start with your local needs. And second tips I want to discuss here is that you need to really read the notice of funding opportunity very carefully. And I see many of the local public agency, especially that this is not a really, a typical job for a local public official there. So it's not really common for them to really read the, word by word, the requirements there. So it's very critical that to follow the requirements. And for example, the requirements could include the structure of your project narrative there, and you really need to follow, because the evaluator, they have the sense that the structure of the project narrative is just as defined in the NOFO there. So if you have a different structure, and you probably think that your structure is better, but on the other hand, they follow that. They have the mindset that they should expecting, let's say, project organization structures here, and then they don't see that. And even you probably, put somewhere else, but they could not really read that very carefully. And so that will be some kind of risk that, they might not really be able to really understand or evaluate your applications in a comprehensive way there. So follow the NOFO, and also means that all the details, all the requirements, and so the readiness requirements, and also the evaluation criteria, then you need to really follow that. One specific element I would say is a evidence-based application. Means that everything when you're making a statement, and it will be better to use the data to support that statement. And that's required actually on almost every notice of funding opportunity there, every program. So using data-driven approach, show the map, shows the statistics, and help you to really comply with the NOFO requirements there. So and on the slides, you can see that some of the funding or the successful ratio for different program. And the only one right now, I think that everyone should really apply is the Safety Street for All Planning grant. And it was 100% successful for every local public agency. But this year, it seems like more local public agency might apply for the Safety Street for All Planning. So the ratio could be a little bit lower. Many people would consider that the rural program is a good program for rural area. And it seems like the successful rate is quite low also. So the third one I want to really mention here is that, you can learn a lot from those successful application package. And we learned that when we help the local public agency to develop their application package, we actually, the first job for us is actually to identify some example and take a look at the example, what is the structure, how they really make an impressive application package. And that's what we want to learn from those application, the successful application there. And you should really do the same thing and visit our Build Launchpad and search for the successful application there. And you can see the project narrative, you can see the benefit cost analysis, either a PDF report or sometimes it's a spreadsheet. And you can just probably leverage the spreadsheet if you don't really have anybody to conduct the benefit cost analysis. And you use some of the example and probably recycle their spreadsheet and streamline your application process there, right? Some supporting documents, and understand how they really incorporate some of the web linked information in your application. That's all good practice that you can learn, you can follow from those successful applications there. Okay, so the Build Launchpad collect about more than 200 successful application already, and you can download it, and you can basically learn from that. Currently, I guess that you have to really sign up, have an account to download. But visiting the other functionality is just public accessible easily. But sign up is automatically approved, so there's no approval process. It's just trying to make sure that when you use the successful award functionality here, and you can also leverage the community, and you can post needs, post partnership needs, and you can work with other agencies there. So the number 4 tips I want to point out here is leveraging all technical assistance resources available. So I heard so many times that the local public agency mentioned to me that they could not really apply for federal grants just because they don't have anybody to work on this. I know that when Sam Sneed from Anne Arundel County talked to me, even Anne Arundel County is not a small county, but they only have 6 employees within the DOT. They are operating the transit system in addition to all the capital projects there. Even that, they could not really have the resources available to apply for federal grants. So this city of Salisbury that we work with, and I think it's only one person focusing on the infrastructure side. Fortunately, the person is extremely experienced in the grant application there. Some of the cities that we talked to actually the city mayors, and they did not really have anybody for the infrastructure issues there. So they definitely have no expertise, no resources to put an application package together. So that's one thing here that we do see that the technical assistance needs or the local constraints here. On the other hand, the U.S. government, the federal government, and USDOT fully aware of this. So they have been working diligently to put all kinds of technical assistance program there. And every state DOT, Maryland DOT has designated teams to provide the resources available. And we all should really leverage those technical assistance resources ready available for every local public agency. And then there's a National Government Association, National League of City, National County Association there, and they all have the resources available. It's just right now, and the resources are everywhere. So sometimes create a problem for local public agency, public officials to identify where should they start. And so that's probably the challenge here. But I would probably say there's just resources available. And Maryland DOT, it's probably the good resources that should really leverage. And the Build America Center is also available to help you. And even many times, I would say that the private company might also be willing to just provide this kind of technical assistance, maybe at a very low fees or even for free, so that they can actually continue to work with your agency once you have the award. Okay, so it's all just the resources available that we just need to really leverage. We need to really just utilize. Even I know that at the local level, and you probably run into all these kinds of challenges here. But there are so many resources available. I think if you just ask for help, there will be many organizations available to support you. The fifth tips I want to mention here is that the priority. Align your application with the USDOT priorities here. So you probably notice that many discretionary programs actually fall into the Justice 40 compliance there. And you need to really demonstrate why your project help the USDOT to comply with the Justice 40 initiative there. Okay, so you got to really use the ETC Explorer or even the Climate Economic Justice Screening tool from the White House to really demonstrate data-driven evidence that your project will benefit the disadvantaged community. There are other priorities that USDOT is focusing on. If you are not able to really meet that, that's totally fine. But you also need to really align with other priority and see whether climate would be the big advantage that your project could really address and help the USDOT to compliance the goal and the mission there. And so that's one thing very important. And you can be very creative to really meet this goal. So this is the chart that we use to help the University of Maryland to comply with the Justice 40, especially for this zero emission transit service that we're helping the university to apply for. So then the next tip I want to say that you need to really plan ahead. You really need to put this as a very critical task, and so that work on the application early, and you never know how complicated it could be. And I ran into so many times that working with the local public agency, we drafted the application, but just because of maybe a delay from the local public agency in terms of a letter from the DOT, a support letter from DOT to specify that the environmental study should be available or should be ready available under, let's say, categorical exclusion there. So those kind of letters they could not really get, and then we miss the application deadline. And I don't want any of the local public agencies make the similar mistake again. So you planned, you spend a tremendous efforts, put a very interesting and also strong application packages there, but then the last minutes you could not really submit, or even you make a small mistake on, let's say, other things that and really damage your application, then that's not really what you should really do. You should really always plan ahead. So the Build Launchpad help you a little bit here is that by collecting all the historical NOFO information, at least the windows of the application window for a specific program, so you can plan ahead. Even you can plan a year ahead. So that's what we are doing right now. We are helping local public agency actually to help for the RAISE application in 2024. So I hope that you can also do the same thing and plan ahead, so that you might also spread your consulting's work hours across the entire year. So in this way, you can really cut the cost if you are hiring consultants to help your application there. The next one, the tip I want to mention here is that do your self-evaluation. So I would really applaud for USDOT all the programs that when they draft this notice of funding opportunity, and you can see that when you read that, you can see that it's follow exactly the transparency principle. So every NOFO you probably see very clearly on the evaluation criteria and how they would evaluate your application as highly recommended, or not recommended. So every criteria, and we all intelligent peoples here. We probably follow pretty much the same rules, the same process when we are doing the evaluation. So if you can evaluate your application as highly recommended, I bet most of the time those reviewers, evaluators from the USDOT would really agree with you and evaluate your application pretty much at the same levels here. So the best chance that you can win the federal grant is do your self-evaluation, just to following the evaluation criteria specified in the NOFO, and also identify what's the missing piece, what is the missing component. And we do that self-evaluation for almost every application that we helped, we supported local public agency there. And then we also need to really, when we identify the gap, then we also will propose any kinds of solutions, any kinds of issues that we are we are helping. We can identify. We can help them to really improve their application. And that's one that I probably should really say the number 9 first, so that then you can get more understanding about this self-evaluation better. So many times that when we help the local public agency, we notice that you might have some strengths, you might have some, I would say your counties, your application, your project that might be in a disadvantaged position when you take a look at the evaluation criteria. So you should definitely leverage all your strengths and highlight your strengths, highlight the strong component of your application. So if you're using the local business and you follow this Buy America, Build America there, and you should highlight. And if your counties has been designated as a rural area, then you should really highlight that too, and you should really demonstrate why this could be this will be a strength area. If your areas, county cities, or the project location is located in the disadvantaged community, and you should really demonstrate that, and also use the ETC Explore to show that what's the population that will be benefit, how many people, how many community, how many, what's the size of the population that will benefit from your project there. And all those data will make a strong story and to convince the evaluator that it's a good project, can benefit, and really help the USDOT to comply their mission and comply with their requirements from the Congress there. And unionize the group, and if you have using the workforce, union laborers there, definitely that seems like an advantage there, and you can leverage. Many times we see that local public agencies say that we don't have that advantage. So I noticed one example that we work with, and a tunnel project in Bethesda. And it's definitely, you can see that it's not really in the disadvantaged community. However, county would like to really address that the Justice 40 compliance. And so county spend the tremendous time to justify how and why that project will benefit the disadvantaged community. And of course, you can see that it's very challenging to really meet that goal because the project is located in disadvantaged community. You need some kind of creativity. You need some kind of out-of-the-box thinking to help that kind of compliance there. There's others like matching funds issues there, and you don't have the matching funds. And so we actually work closely with a different state, we actually also organize a matching funds workshops there, and we disseminate the best practice from like a state of South Carolina there, and they actually identify the state legislature and passed a bill and really allocated about $600 million available for local to match the to provide the match funds for local when they are applying for federal grants. And when we provide this kind of technical assistance, and also I think that the Kansas, when we work with them, and the Kansas also just have that also, they have a $200 million available for local public agency to match the federal grants when they're applying for the IIJA grants there. So you see that there's all kinds of creativities and methods there. When we are under resources, leverage some public university. That will be also the resources you might need. You might use some free service from the university, because most of the time public university like to support the local public agency, help the local public agency to really secure some grants there. I'm not talking about this Justice 40. This is the one example that we bring some innovation to the local public agency, help them to really apply for federal grants. So for example, this Justice 40 for the EV charging station, And of course, the big challenge for the EV infrastructure here is that we all know the demand is probably from the most of the times from the wealthy community there, because the EV ownership remain, I think, from the wealthy community. But when you're considering just this 40 initiative here, 40%, at least 40% from the USDOT perspective, would 40% of the investment should be 40% of the investment would be located in the disadvantaged community. And then you can see that if the EV charging stations located in disadvantaged community, the demand is not there, then you have the supply and the demand. The discrepancy between the demand and also the supply there, and that's the challenge. So we propose that a different approach, like we can use the crowdfunding approach and say that we can still build the local the EV charging station within the wealthy community, but the ownership of the EV charging station can be sold at a highly discount to disadvantaged community or the residents from the low income community there. In this way, you still benefit the disadvantaged community, and you have the EV charging station has been developed or located in the wealthy area, which the demand, EV demand, actually is coming from. So that's one, idea and that we propose, so that you can meet the demand and also help the local disadvantaged community. And even when we talk about this idea to the local public agency there, and they even go beyond, they bring more innovation here. They said, it's not only just the ownership to the disadvantaged community. We can probably at the county level collect those revenue and then build a EV rebate program and provide the rebate to the low income community there. So you can see that when we bring some kind of a new idea, innovation to the local public agency, and they can be also innovative there. So you will be also on the same spot that when you see this kind of innovation, the ideas that proposed by university or by your consultant there, and you will also be motivated to really come up with some innovative idea there too. Next tip I want to really say that is the partnership. It's very critical. And the Build Launchpad have a forum, and you can basically just post a note and post a message and see whether you want to really partner with any other university or any other county city, so that you can bundle your application together. You can also build a partnership with a consultant and just really leverage their expertise, help your agency to apply for federal grants there. So it's all the partnership here, and partner with the state, partner with the university, partner with the nonprofit organization or even the private organization, so that you can prepare very strong applications there. And the last tip I want to mention here is that keep trying. And one thing here is that you will be receiving evaluation form after you submitted the, even you haven't really got the award. If you got the award, I think that USDOT, Federal Highway Administration, will also send you this evaluation form. But no matter what, you're going to really have this evaluation form. Ask for a debriefing and understand why your evaluation, your application has been evaluated low on certain criteria there. Just address that and then improve your application so that next round you can put a much stronger application and win your grants there. So this is a multiple years program, most of them, and then you can definitely target those programs for several years and continue to applying for federal grants will basically finally I think that you will be able to learn from the application process, and you will be able to win the grant. So this is a quick presentation about the tips of grant application under the IIJA. And I want to mention here that we have a strong partnership, and we are here available. We're a state university, and we are here to support all the local public agencies in the state of Maryland here too. So I'm open for any question there.
Thank you, QC. That was great. Appreciate you taking the time. We do have some time left for Q&A. Kristen, are there any questions that have come into the chat for QC?
No, there hasn't been any questions that have been entered into the chat, but if anyone does have them, you can put them in the chat or the question box.
Okay. And QC, he included his email on the last slide. Like I said, that was fantastic. There was a lot of ground to cover. As these discretionary opportunities continue to be an increased focus for both Maryland and our local partners, we're lucky to have you in the state of Maryland, and appreciate you sharing your expertise with us. I just wanted to remind the participants that this was recorded, and we're going to post this to our website for reference, so you can go back and review some of the helpful tips that QC provided. But also wanted to remind you that at MDOT, we're also here to support the state and look forward to partnering with you on any future grant applications or opportunities as well. So we'll include this email address as well in the chat, but please feel free to reach out to us at mdottsopcp@mdot.maryland.gov, or also feel free to reach out to QC with any questions that you might have as well. But thank you, QC. Any last words? I appreciate you doing this.
Hey, Jeff, I'm sorry, QC, just before you jump out, I do have 2 hands raised.
Okay.
So I'm going to see if I can unmute them. So give me 1 second. Okay, we have from Bobby Burton. He asked, does this information only apply to the state of Maryland?
No, so it applies to all the local public agencies across the country. So you can see that even we support local government in many other states. So we do work closely with the county cities in Maryland, but the Build America Center actually is a technical assistance program for all county cities across the country. And just want to let you know at the beginning, when we were tasked by USDOT Federal Highway for technical assistance, first question they were asking us is, how could we support more than 60,000 local public agencies across the country there? We could not. That was the reason that we developed this system platform, Build Launchpad. We hope that there's some new technology-based solution could help local public agency. And so our technical assistant is available to all local public agency across the country. The systems and also the data that we collect, they're all applied to any county cities across the country.
Thanks, QC. That was it for questions. Oh, actually, I'm sorry, one more. And what is the cost of working with your experts, QC?
Well, as I mentioned that, I don't want to really say this because people would have that kind of impression that there's no free lunch. There is actually free lunch right now under this IIJA law, let's put it this way, just because the Congress actually implement this IIJA or draft the IIJA in a way that is community-based approach. So you can see that Jeff mentioned that it's $190 billion under the discretionary funds, so the local government can apply. Our service, Build America Center, is actually funded by the USDOT. Of course, they have other tasks for us. So our service is free to the local public agency right now, and we did help the local public agency develop their application package purely for free. And we even help them to identify the project, scope the project, develop the analysis application package for certain type of project there. It's all free. Sometimes I would say most of them would like us to continue this kind of technical support, and they even budget some funds for Build America Center to support them. Pretty small budget, so that we can have one research scientist or even professional engineer within the university to help them to deliver their project. Because one of the critical things, I think, during the project execution phase is the compliance with the federal regulation there. And we are working closely with the Federal Highway Administration to create, we call it a compliance navigator, and then leverage all the expertise that we can use right now, help the local public agency to comply with the federal regulation. I know that the Maryland DOT and other state DOT would also have that kind of resources available to support local to comply with the federal regulation there. So, typically I would say that we are just there to provide the service without any cost for local public agency if they're applying for federal grants there right now.
Great, thank you. Another question is, will the Build America Center review applications before they are submitted to provide comments? And if so, how much time in advance is needed of the due date?
Yeah, so it's just because of the limited resources. We hope that you can give us at least a week for us to review that. We typically spend, depending on the program, I would probably say most program we have experience already. We know the requirements, we know the evaluation criteria, and we review. Many of our team members, they're research scientists. Even some of them, they're students. They're very professional students there. So we have a great number of master and PhD students. They're actually professionals. They came back to university to get their master and PhD degree, but they're actually professional engineers or they're middle career professionals there. So they spend the time voluntarily actually to help the local public agency and improve their application. So we typically take a few days to make that evaluation there based on the NOFO, and then we provide the comments. We hope that our comments and our evaluation would help the local public agency to improve their application. So give us a little bit more time, a week, so before the deadline, so definitely we can help you. And I would probably suggest also, if you're looking for Build America Center service there, probably talk to us early so that we might provide some suggestion regarding how you draft your application, how you can really structure some of the sections or component so that you can meet the evaluation criteria there. So I would probably suggest talk to us early so that we can help you your agency in a much better way.
Great, thanks, QC. As of right now, we're getting to the 2 o'clock marks, so I think we will wrap up.
That was it for question. Yeah, thank you again, QC. I would just again urge everybody on the call to take the time to reach out to QC or the other folks at the Build America Center as you start to look at your priorities and match them with some of these programs. This is a great resource for all of us to be taken advantage of. So QC, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to share with us today. I appreciate it.
Yep, thank you for the opportunity here.
Thank you very much. Thank you everybody for joining.
Bye-bye.
Bye.